What a beautiful thing art and poetry is in our life. It just enriches the surroundings around us. Imagine being able to look back to the past 60 years of life to see where you were, what was happening. Such a beautiful expression, such a legacy to leave behind. My next author is Dr. William Clark. He wrote New Horizons in Life, Art and Poetry. Welcome, Dr. Clark. We're so glad that you're here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm pleased and honored to be meeting you and discussing my life, perhaps, or
So,
our lives together.
yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Clark, I am so intrigued in the fact that your life has been in dentistry and orthodontics,
Yes.
which is, to me, it would be a one side of the brain. Yet here you are writing a book about poetry and art, which is the other side of the brain, the creative side of the brain. What a wonderful mix God has given you. He has blessed you with such fullness to be able to share your life with people. And we're excited to hear about the poetry side today.
Yes. Well, first of all, let me explain that my wife, Sheila, and I have been married for 62 years. So
Wow.
we go back six decades.
Wow.
And this book really came about by chance. You know, my profession is orthodontics. I'm not an artist, a professional artist, but in the 1980s, I did take a course, the Paris ABC School of Art. And this book is based on the work that I did during that course.
Okay.
It includes instruction from Paris ABC School of Art in drawing and painting. Now that was in the 1980s. And the book came about by chance because we were confined to home by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for something to keep me occupied.
Sure.
So I looked back at my artwork and I thought, well, I wonder if I could just put this together and make something of it. And the other thing is that because of the time that this book spans, I almost look at this from 3 points of view. First of all, as a young man, and I was a romantic, I wrote poetry. And I'm sure most of the poems are related to Sheila.
Right.
And that's the personal side of it. But then I also wrote on, more general subjects like moonlight, sunset, you name it. You know,
Still very romantic, Dr. Clark.
there are many romantic themes in there. Yeah, so that's the poetry side. And that is me as a young man.
Yes.
But then time moves on, and I in the 1980s, as I said, that I was sort of kind of middle-aged at that point, and now I was drawing and painting, and I really enjoyed this course by the ABC School of Art, and that was the basis for my artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what brought it about was having spare time at home to look back on my work, on my life. And the third stage is that now I'm a young 85-year-old.
Yes, sir.
And I'm looking back at my life through rose-tinted spectacles. It's like just looking back in your memory, and all of us can do this. It's really quite an exciting thing to do. Here's a challenge for you. You know, look back at your life and see what you bring to mind, because we all go through these stages in our life, and it's worth recording. Maybe you would like to write a book.
Yes.
You know,
Dr. Clark, did you learn something about yourself as you realized and put all these pieces together, looking back now in hindsight? Was there something profound that you learned maybe as you grew in wisdom and knowledge and
Yeah.
faith?
Yes, of course. The cornerstone is that Sheila and I went to the same school, but we didn't know one another.
Mm,
We then went to university in Dundee, and I was a dental student,
mhm.
so I took on patients. Sheila was one of my patients.
Oh, wonderful.
Now, you're not supposed to have any relationship with
Right,
patients.
right.
And it was purely, she was my patient and I was doing her dentistry. But in the Christmas holidays, Sheila was in Dundee Choral and she was coming back to Dundee to sing the Messiah in Dundee Choral. And she did that. And of course, as a dental student, I didn't get such long holidays. So it happened that we went back from Dundee, first of all, crossing on a ferry.
Mhm.
And when I walked into the lounge in the ferry, there was Sheila.
Love.
Seduction. Now, this has a poem and
Beautiful
a
pictures.
drawing of a rose
Yes.
on this page. So, seduction, morning greeting to a solitary rose, velvet petals, dew dipped in tears, a shivering cocoon trapped in a net of white gossamer, imprisoned in the prickly forest of an alien host, quivering in solitude. Open your heart to the warmth of the morning sun. Release your mystic potions and seduce the deadly thorns, your devoted guardians of beauty and splendor. Softly kiss uncaring joy
Mm. It's very loving.
into the heart of my loved one this quiet morning.
Mm.
I can clearly remember going out into the garden and seeing a rose. And on the opposite page here is my wife, Sheila.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. So this is almost a love book
Yep.
legacy that you're leaving behind, isn't it?
And the point about this book is it is a combination of art and poetry. Now, it's easy for me to illustrate the poetry by reciting it, but the art is a very important part of the book because I deal with it in many ways. For example, I have many photographs of our garden.
My goodness.
We have a beautiful garden, and such a variety of flowers and colors.
Mm.
It is just a joy to live with.
Absolutely. There's something
And
so calming, it's
yeah,
calming and peaceful about poetry and flowers. And
yes.
there's just a gentleness to you. Well, we do have to begin to wrap up the interview, but do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share about your book?
Uh, well, I have enjoyed writing it and assembling it because there's a lot of photography in it, and it covers a wide range of subjects.
Dr. Clark, it's been such a joy speaking with you. Dr. William Clark, New Horizons in Life, Art, and Poetry. We want to say thank you to Prime 7 Media for making this interview possible and for making this connection happen. And we encourage you to purchase the book and leave a review. And I think it would be a beautiful gift and what a fantastic coffee table book to be able to have out to enjoy not just the visual pictures, but to also be able to share and relate the poetry with friends and guests as they come to visit. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Clark, and have a
Well, thank you
wonderful day.
so much for interviewing me. I really have enjoyed meeting you and talking with you. That's been terrific.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.